First tonight, a new push from the Ohio State Highway Patrol to keep first responders and state workers safe.
Hey, Gwyneth Falloon following this story for us tonight joins us now live. And Gwen, what is the push and why now?
Yeah, Adam, so they're really urging drivers to be more careful when they're passing other vehicles stopped on the side of the road. It's actually the law in Ohio to actually move over or slow down. Since 2018, OSHP says their cruisers, have been in 61 crashes, and that resulted in 2 civilian deaths as well as over 50 civilian and officer injuries. This is why simply moving over or just slowing down even a little bit can really save and protect lives.
And Gwen, this of course is not just for law enforcement or emergency vehicles, right?
Yep, that is correct. This also protects things like tow trucks, maintenance and utility vehicles, as well as the Ohio Department of Transportation crews that might be working on the road.
This year, we've had 36 crews hit while working on the side of the road. Our crews are out working on the roadside every day, and they want to be able to go home safely at the end of their day.
Yeah, and I actually had the opportunity to sit down with Paula and John Kalaman. Their son, John, was the son of a police officer that was killed, and his death actually led to the push for the move over law. But you can hear from them on our website, Dayton247now.com. Back to you.
Gwen, thank you. And announced just today, an indictment handed down against 19-year-old Eric Ball, who's connected to a shooting in Moraine. Now, officials say Ball fired multiple rounds from a handgun during a drive-by shooting into a home on Gladstone Street. 19-year-old Terry Martin Jr. was hit in the head and neck, killing him. Ball was indicted on several charges, including murder. Now, he's currently in the Montgomery County Jail on a $1 million bond. He's scheduled to be arraigned July 20th.
The 1-year-old boy whose death is under investigation has been identified by the Montgomery County Coroner's Office tonight. They identified Braxton Trollinger as the victim. Police say they responded to Darke Avenue on Friday on reports of a person down. And that child died at the scene. The death still under investigation. As of tonight, no one has been taken into custody.
A Tip City man will now spend the next 18 months in prison for defrauding a local nonprofit organization. 43-year-old Antoine Drains found guilty of defrauding the Miami Valley Community Action Partnership of rental assistance funds in 2020. He knowingly sent false statements to residents, concealing part of their rent was paid through federal housing vouchers. He's also being ordered to pay just under $95,000 in restitution.
Live look now from the Miami Valley Jail's website tonight. That's where Floydell Smith is at tonight after he was arrested early this morning by the U.S. Marshals Southern Ohio Fugitive Apprehension Strike Team. Now, he was wanted out of Georgia in the murder of Tavian William back on June 27th. He now is waiting for extradition back to Georgia for his court appearance.
5 people are now behind bars accused of possessing more than $200,000 worth of drugs and guns. Now, one of those arrested is this man right here, 35-year-old Darke Hutchinson, who's from Dayton. Now, officers also see $16,000 in cash. They were arraigned this morning in Portsmouth Municipal Court.
The Centerville Police Department taking to Twitter tonight. They're asking for the public's help in finding this man. He's suspected of a theft at a business on East Alex Bell Road. They are asking anyone with information about who that guy is. Call their tip line. The number right there on your screen on the bottom.
Tomorrow, the city of Dayton plans to take a stand. City commissioners oppose issue 1, which would require a 60% majority for constitutional amendments to pass instead of just 50. Now, Dayton city commissioners say they do not support the issue and they want residents to vote no. On Wednesday, the Dayton City Commission plans to pass this informal resolution against it.
It's because it minimizes the opportunity for citizens across the state of Ohio and us here in Dayton as well to have an opportunity to have impact on state issues.
Now, informal resolutions are, of course, nothing new. They are protected under the doctrine of government speech. However, PhD Mark Clausen with Cedarville University says he doesn't think this resolution will have much of an impact.
People have already made up their minds in most cases, or they're going to be swayed not by the city council, but rather by the advertisements or their friends.
Now, city leaders will be voting tomorrow at the meeting beginning at 6. The resolution is the last thing on the agenda.
Well, we had a few thunderstorms roll through some of the areas tonight, and it sounds like that's kind of a preview of what's to come here soon.
Yeah, on Thursday, another threat for thunderstorms, some of which could be strong to severe. We have a quiet day until then. Wednesday's looking good, but looking ahead into Thursday, we do have the potential for some strong to severe storms for us. So damaging winds would be the main concern with storms on Thursday. We could see some large hail, some heavy rain. Tornado threat is looking low, but it's something that we're certainly going to be watching closely as we head into our Thursday. As right now, we do have a level 2 threat for severe storms for the entire Miami Valley by Thursday afternoon and into the evening. So we're going to be watching that very closely. Until then, though, we got a quieter evening. Right now, we're hanging out in the 70s, 75 Dayton, 71 in Troy. Mostly clear skies out there right now, but I do think we're going to see some fog begin to develop. Lows dropping into the mid-60s. I'll have a look at the rest of the week's forecast coming up.
Former President Donald Trump may be facing yet another indictment, this time in the Justice Department's investigation into efforts to undo the results of the 2020 election, including leading up to the January 6th Capitol riot. Now, Donald Trump says that he got a letter informing him he's a target in the probe, which could be a sign he'll be indicted by federal prosecutors soon. Special counsel Jack Smith, whose office is leading the probe, hasn't commented on the matter. In a post on his Truth Social account, Trump calls it a, quote, total weaponization of law enforcement.
And now some House Republicans are jumping to former President Trump's defense after he got that letter today.
Well, I guess under a Biden administration, Biden America, you'd expect this.
Is this where our country is now? Because it's an embarrassment on the world stage. If this is the direction America is going in, we are worse than Russia. We are worse than China.
Now, Trump and many of his GOP allies accused the Justice Department of going after the former president to prevent him from being reelected next year. Democrats defend the branch of government and say everyone must be held accountable if they commit a crime.
I don't think it's surprising. We expect that the target letter and the work that the grand jury continues to do will meet that threshold of seeking the facts and holding people accountable, no matter where they are and no matter who they are.
The DOJ's probe is focusing on attempts by Trump and his allies to block the transfer of power to the president in the days leading up to the January 6th Capitol riot.
And tonight, the White House is reacting to the news. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre pushed back on claims made by Trump's allies today, but declined to weigh in on the case.
The president respects the Department of Justice, their independence. He has been very steadfast on making sure that the rule of law comes back in this administration, comes back in the White House, and clearly the administration more broadly, and that's what you have seen.
Former President Trump has already been indicted twice this year in a New York hush money case and a probe into his handling of classified documents. Still, he remains the front runner in the Republican Party's 2024 presidential field.
In fact, even with the legal battles, he's tracking to win Ohio again in a hypothetical general election matchup against President Biden. According to a new USA Today poll, the former president edging out Biden by about 6 points right now. Trump won the state back in 2016 and 2020 by 8 points. Republican governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, meanwhile, maintains a 2-point lead over President Biden in a hypothetical matchup. Overall, about 54% of Ohioans disapprove of the president's performance. 41% support him. And Senate Democrats are reintroducing the Freedom to Vote Act, saying the right to vote is more crucial now than ever before.
Democracy is facing unprecedented threats like we have not seen in more than a century.
Now, lawmakers say the bill would set baseline national standards to protect voting access. It would also protect election workers, prohibit partisan gerrymandering, and discourage dark money in elections. They aim to pass it alongside the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, which would prohibit racial discrimination in voting. It stands in contrast to House Republicans' voting bill, which would tighten voting laws, ensure states have primary control over elections, enact more checks on voter eligibility, and loosen finance restrictions. The GOP argues its bill would ensure election integrity.
A live look right now from our nation's capital at this hour. This is Congress is expected to vote on a must-pass FAA reauthorization package soon. Now, the FAA bill includes provisions on airport and airplane modernization, pilot training, and drone regulations. Usually a bipartisan process, Democrats worry Republicans could derail it, though, by including proposals meant to tackle culture war issues.
They took a reasonable bipartisan work product in NDAA, and we'll see in FAA, And in order to secure the votes, they have to add the culture wars to it.
Congressman Pete Aguilar was referring to complaints, about the recent defense bill, including abortion-related policy. Yet the GOP says that is by design because they want the defense bill to be only about defense.
Just focus on the military. Stop using taxpayer money to do their own wokeism. A military cannot defend themselves if you train them in woke.
The FAA reauthorization bill is expected to pass sometime this week.
An Ohio lawmaker facing charges tonight, but has no plan on resigning. Lydia Bice live at the Now Desk. Which state lawmaker is in legal trouble here?
Well, a grand jury indicted Ohio State Representative Bob Young on misdemeanor domestic violence and assault charges on Tuesday. However, he has no plans to resign. Following a fundraising party earlier this month, the Republican lawmaker struck his wife in the face and threw her cell phone into a pool to keep her from calling 911, according to a Summit County Sheriff's report. Their young daughter witnessed the incident.
So has he responded publicly to any of this?
Well, in an emailed statement, Young says that he loves his family, but that his, quote, life has been very stressful lately. He also said, quote, my behavior, while not criminal, was inappropriate and out of character. I apologize to everyone involved. Young says he will continue his position as a lawmaker despite calls from his party's leader, House Speaker Jason Stephens, to resign. Back to you.
Lydia, thank you. A local toddler in need of a heart with only just a few months to live. How her mom is now advocating for children like her daughter. Next.
Plus, I'm tracking our code red weather alert for our Thursday. I'll time it all out for you. That's coming up. Here's a live look from our Eco Plumber Skycam. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
A little girl has just months to live. Her mom is doing all she can to make her final moments special, and Morella Porter explains she's also advocating for children just like her daughter.
Whether she's cheering on the Reds in her dad's lap or cruising in her red G-Wagon, Aubrey Shears is always all smiles. You'd never know these could be some of her final moments. Aubrey has dilated cardiomyopathy. It's rare in children. She had her first heart transplant at 5 months old. Recovery was going well until the beginning of this year, when she went into cardiac arrest in the middle of the night. She was placed on life support and miraculously made it through without brain damage. Things were looking up again until 2 months ago.
They were doing a biopsy to do a normal routine check on her heart, and she went into cardiac arrest. She was put back on life support.
Doctors didn't think she would survive on her own, but she did. Now, at just 2.5, she needs another transplant. But because of how recent her first transplant was, she won't be a candidate until March. Doctors don't think she'll make it that long.
That was Morella Porter reporting. While there are organizations out there with resources available, there are a lot more families who need support, leaving some, like Aubrey, without.
Well, quiet evening across the Miami Valley, but storms will become possible by Thursday, some of which could be strong to severe. So here's a look at what's going on right now. We're quiet. We had active weather earlier into the evening for our southern counties. Bigger picture here, dealing with flooding concerns along the Ohio River. But back off west, you can see severe thunderstorm watch through parts of the Dakotas, extending into Nebraska. That's associated with our next weather maker that will be arriving by Thursday. But for tonight, a little fog developing for us. Going to be quiet still. 80s tomorrow afternoon. Skies will be partly cloudy. Thursday, we have our chance for storms by the afternoon and evening. Some of these could be on the stronger to severe side. This is about 5 p.m. It's really looking late afternoon into the evening hours. That will continue to drift its way southward and again posing that severe weather risk. So we're going to be watching Thursday very closely, as it could be bringing us some strong to severe storms.
Natalie, thanks. From New York to Los Angeles, actors and writers are packing the picket lines, demanding higher wages and better benefits. The Writers Guild of America has been on strike since the beginning of May, with SAG-AFTRA members joining them just a couple of days ago. While many film and television projects are now in limbo until the conflict is resolved, what kind of impact are we seeing in the tri-state? Cincinnati area has become a hotspot for the film industry. Several high-profile movies being filmed there in recent years. Executive Director Kristen Irwin spoke about what this means for current and future productions.
You know, our job is to advocate for Cincinnati, not for the writers, not for the actors, for the industry at large, and to come here. So our work doesn't stop during this. So while production can't occur and people can't cross a picket line, this is a time where everyone starts developing projects and makes sure that they're ready to go once negotiations have been met. So we've never been busier. We have a lot of projects in the pipeline, and those projects continue to develop so that once there's a resolve, they can be up and running quickly.
The strike is already impacting the fall primetime schedules for the major TV networks, which have turned to more reality shows, game shows, and reruns of pre-existing programs.
Local responders are now getting some wellness support funds, all thanks to Governor Mike DeWine. Governor DeWine announced the 7th round just earlier today. 20 different departments statewide are getting a total of $4 million to help with wellness and staffing needs, and some of the money is coming to the Miami Valley. In fact, on the list is Bethel Township Fire Department in Clark County and the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office. To date, the governor's office has given nearly $65 million to 250 Ohio agencies to address burnout caused by understaffing and overall job stress. And Vice President Kamala Harris announced the White House is investing an additional $50 million in treatment for substance use disorders. In a meeting with Attorneys General of the United States, Harris said fentanyl is the leading cause of deaths in people 18 to 42. Federal, state, and local government agencies are working together to address the underlying issue of addiction.
We still have a long way to go in our country to accurately and appropriately talk about what substance use addiction really is. It's a healthcare issue. We must destigmatize this issue. We must remove judgment from this issue. We must understand that most people don't choose to have a substance abuse disorder.
Now, the White House is taking steps to expand access to treatment and affordability to life-saving drugs like naloxone. And now we want to give you a live look right now from our Eco Plumber Skycam. Let's send it right out to Chief Meteorologist Natalie Walters for a look at our forecast.
Quiet and a little bit of a sticky night out here. I think we're going to be seeing some fog begin to develop across the region, but eventually we'll be tracking some storms by Thursday, some of which could be strong to severe, also bringing some heavier rain into the area. So quiet tomorrow, but by Thursday, some of the storms that make their way in could be producing some heavier downpours. Models indicating we could potentially see over an inch of rainfall out of this system. So we'll be monitoring this very closely. Of course, with some heavier downpours, we could see some locally heavier amounts. But as far as our drought monitor goes, because we did have those abnormally dry, even moderate drought conditions not too long ago, Dayton area now abnormally dry, southern counties under that moderate drought. So still could use any bit of rain that we could get for the Dayton area. More on that severe risk and our 7-day coming up.
A diaper drive being held here in the Miami Valley. How one organization is hoping to ease the stress of diaper need and cost.
Also, UD welcoming the first female provost to the university, what she hopes to bring to UD.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Local organization working to ease the stress of diaper need. The Gem City Diaper Bank provides baby products to families in need as those costs continue to rise. Melena Brown met with the co-founder and executive director to discuss what can be done by the community.
According to the National Diaper Bank Network, 1 in 3 families struggle with being able to provide diapers for their babies. And some government assistance programs won't provide them either, which is why one local organization is filling the gap. The organization's mission is to promote the health and welfare of babies by providing diapers at no charge to low-income families.
WIC and food stamps, they will not cover the cost of diapers. Well, government won't do that. If they're on SNAP, it can be Medicaid, it can be any government assistance. They can get diapers from us.
If you want to donate or volunteer to help the Gem City Diaper Bank, you can reach out on their website, www.gemcitydiaperbank.org, or at their phone number, 937-231-1716. Back to you.
Nearly half of the families in our communities are struggling to provide clean diapers for their babies, and there's a way you can help. We're partnering with the National Diaper Bank Network for Sinclair Care's Summer Diaper Drive, now through August 6th. You can scan the QR code there to provide diapers for those in need right here in the Miami Valley, and your donation makes a big difference. The University of Dayton has a new provost and executive vice president of academic affairs. Dr. Darlene Weaver is the first woman to hold that title and the first externally hired. Now, she began her tenure at the first of the month. Weaver says she's excited to join a diversity already characterized by excellence.
For me, this is really an opportunity to come into a situation and to build on many strengths and gifts that are already present at the university. I have the good fortune of joining a team not to try to salvage a ship that is sinking, but to join a team that is characterized by thoughtfulness.
She says she hopes to promote the faculty's research profile, student outcomes, and be a thoughtful partner in the community.
Bengals fans getting some welcoming news, why some say their fan base is the most dedicated in the NFL. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.